Your savings rate can change faster than your paycheck, and most people only notice months later when the interest line is smaller. By the end of this, you'll know where repricing shows up, the one screen that tells you your real rate, and how to think about locking a rate without trapping your cash. Let's keep one practical setup the whole way. Maya keeps $20,000 as an emergency fund in a high-yield savings account. She checks the app, sees a bigger balance, and assumes the high-yield part is stable. Then the monthly interest deposit drops from about $58 to about $42. Even though she didn't touch the money, that's repricing. Most savings and money market accounts are variable rate. The bank can change what it pays, and the change often arrives as a small disclosure update or a quiet notice you never connect to your own account. Here's the part you can verify in under a minute. Your cash growth is not the advertised headline rate. It's your effective rate, and you can compute it from your statement. Find two lines. Average daily balance interest earned. If Maya's average daily balance is about $20,000 and she earned $58 this month, that's roughly $58 times 12 equals $696 a year. 696 divided by $20,000 is about 3.5%. That's the number that matters because it's what her cash actually earned. Now the drop. $40 times 12 is $504. $504 divided by $20,000 is about 2.5%. Same account name, different yield. The high yield label didn't protect her. The math did. Why do banks cut rates? Simple incentive. Your deposits are inventory the bank buys from you. When they don't need as much inventory or they can get it cheaper, they lower the price they pay. When competitors are paying up to attract deposits, rates rise. When competition fades, rates drift down. The frustrating part is how it hits your wallet. It's a slow leak. On $20,000, a drop from 4.5% to 3.5% is about $200 less interest per year. On $50,000, that same 1-point drop is about $500 a year. Not catastrophic, but real money. Now, the fine print trap isn't usually evil. It's conditional pricing. Some accounts have promo rates that expire. Some pay one rate up to a certain balance, then a lower rate above that. Some require direct deposit or a certain number of transactions. None of that is automatically bad. The problem is assuming you're getting the same rate forever. So, what are your options when your rate slips? Think of this as a trade-off between three things. Liquidity. How fast you might need the cash rate stability. How much you want the number to stop drifting hassle. How much admin you'll tolerate. High-yield savings is high liquidity and low commitment. The trade-off is the rate can move quickly. Certificates of deposit are higher commitment. You're typically locking a rate for a term. The trade-off is access. If you need the money early, you may pay an early withdrawal penalty, and that penalty is the line that decides whether locking is worth it. Here's a clean way to read that penalty. If a 12-month CD has a 3 months of interest penalty, breaking it early can wipe out a big chunk of what you earned, especially if you exit early in the term. A 6 months of interest penalty is even more restrictive. A CD can still make sense, but only if your timeline is steady. That's why people talk about a CD ladder. A ladder is just splitting money into multiple CDs that mature at different times. So you're not locked into one big all-or-nothing bet. Back to Maya. She decides $8,000 must stay instantly liquid. That stays in savings. The remaining $12,000 is probably safe for the next year. She could split that $12,000 into 4 3,000 CDs that mature every few months. If rates keep falling, she locks some yield. If she needs cash, something matures soon. If rates rise, she's not trapped for long. Now, don't miss two non-obvious details. 1, how and when interest is credited. Savings interest is usually monthly. CDs may credit monthly or at maturity. You want the annualized yield, but you also want to know when the interest actually hits. 2, taxes. For most people, interest from savings and CDs is taxable. So, the comparison that matters is after-tax yield on money you truly need to keep safe and accessible. Now, let's make the watch next part concrete with 3 signals. Signal 1, your effective rate change materially. A simple rule is 0.5% or more on a balance you care about. For Maya, that's about $100 a year per half point on $20,000. Signal 2, the bank's new customer rate is meaningfully higher than what you're actually getting. That usually means you're off a promo or you're in a lower price bucket. Signal 3, the gap between your effective rate and the best available alternatives stays wide for more than a month or two. 1 week is noise, 2 months is a trend, and here's the one screen I want you to remember: your statement. Not the marketing page, not the app banner. Your statement shows what you earned on what balance, which means you can compute your real rate even if the bank changes the labels. Before we wrap, a quick reality check on where repricing hides in normal life. If you want a zero math shortcut, most banks have an account details screen that lists APY or interest rate, but it's usually one tap past the balance. The problem is that screen can lag, or it can show a tier you're not actually in. That's why the statement method is the backstop. Also, watch for one CD term that changes the whole deal: callable. A callable CD can pay a higher rate, but it gives the bank the option to end the CD early. That tends to happen when rates fall, because the bank doesn't want to keep paying the higher rate. It doesn't mean never use it. It just means you should treat it like a lock that can be opened from the other side. So, the practical workflow is simple. Once a month, you check your statement interest line, compute your effective rate, and then decide if the gap is big enough to justify any hassle. If it isn't, you move on with your life. If it is, then you compare savings versus a short ladder based on your own calendar. Here's your 2-minute checklist. If you do only this, you'll catch repricing early, and you won't accidentally lock money you might need. First, open last month's statement and find the interest earned and average daily balance. Do the quick annualized math. Interest times 12 divided by the balance. That's your effective rate. Second, open your bank app and find the screen that shows your current APY for the account. If that number is meaningfully different from what your statement implies, trust the statement and watch the next month. Third, check whether your rate is conditional. Look for requirements like direct deposit, transaction minimums, balance tiers, or promo end dates. Fourth, if you're considering a CD, read the early withdrawal penalty line before you look at the rate. If the penalty would wipe out your interest in the time window, you might need the cash. It's not a safe lock for you. Fifth, if you want rate stability without trapping your full emergency fund, keep the truly urgent cash liquid and only ladder the portion you realistically won't touch for several months. That's it. You don't need perfect optimization. You just need to stop letting the rate change happen behind your back. If this helped, subscribe to the Wealth Blueprint for more clear money breakdowns. And leave a comment with the next topic you want covered, or the one part of today's video you want explained even simpler.